What's up, everybody? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report. And we have one hell of a show lined up for you today. We'll be talking about the San Francisco 49ers and their horrible game this past Sunday night on national television. We're going to be talking about the Warriors, college football. We're also going to have a special guest, Adam Karnick, host of the Chi-Town Sports Weekly. We'll be talking about Niners and Bears coming up this Sunday. But boy, what a horrible game for the Niners this past Sunday. We're going to break all that down in just a few minutes. And on top of that, we got Cal, Stanford, San Jose State, 3C2A, and a whole lot more. Guys, get ready for the NorCal Sports Report right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Now, yes, guys, we did not have an episode last week because I was out of town. I was at the in-laws' house. We had some wonderful turkey, mashed potatoes, everything you can think of. We did Christmas as well. It was great. I had a great time. Father-in-law is a great cook. He makes some amazing food, and so we had ourselves quite the day. Now, on the other hand, the 49ers did not have a great day. It was a blowout. It was horrible. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Adam Karnick of Chi-Town Sports Weekly will be on the show today to talk about the upcoming matchup between the 49ers and the Chicago Bears. We're going to be talking about Cal, Stanford, San Jose State, and a little bit of news on the Golden State Warriors. So definitely stay tuned for that. Now, make sure you follow IG Sports Radio. Make sure you follow IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and over at IESportsRadio.com. At IESportsRadio.com, we have a full catalog of all the shows that are broadcasting on this station, on this network. While you're there, check out IESportsRadio.com/shop. Pick up some merchandise to help support the network. I appreciate that. We're also located on basically any form of podcasts that you use, maybe Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CastBox, PocketBox, whatever it is, or Pocket Cast. That's what I meant to say. Wherever you find your podcast, you will find IE Sports Radio. So definitely check that out. You can follow me on X at NorCal Sports IE. You can also follow me at Dre Area Sports on X as well. That's my personal account, so definitely follow me there. Check out my YouTube channel, Dre Area Sports. This broadcast will be uploaded onto there within a few minutes after we're done. But yes, the Niners did not fare well this past week, and we're going to talk deep. We're going to go way into that and figure out what the hell went wrong with the San Francisco 49ers. But before we get to all of that, make sure you check out Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. You can order this jerky over at planetjerky.net and follow them over at Planet Jerky over on Instagram. We're also brought to you by Seal the Deal Wax Seals. You can follow them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax seals, or go over to IESportsRadio.com/Seal the Deal Wax Seals and place an order for the beautiful, wonderful wax seals. And with that being said, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Niners, Bills, and the massacre that happened in Buffalo. You're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm. single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Minutes past the hour here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And holy crap, the Niners got completely and utterly annihilated in Buffalo in the snow with a final score of 35-10. Boy, it was a rough watch, I'll tell you that. Nothing went their way, but everything went the way of the Buffalo Bills. Let's start with the quarterback position. Brock Purdy came back from injury. He was 11 for 18 for 94 yards. No touchdown, no picks, but 94 yards. Now, this was not really a heavily throwing game. Going to be a lot of running, and the Bills were ready for that as James Cook ran for 107 yards and a touchdown. He was averaging 7.6 a run. That's awful. Absolutely awful. And Brock Purdy, 94 yards. He looked tentative. He looked scared. He kept pumping the ball and just not letting it rip. And I don't know what was going on with Brock Purdy. Did not have a good game. Did not have a good game. Christian McCaffrey, 7 rushes for 53 yards, and he was having a great game. He looked fast. He looked elusive. He was running at a different speed compared to everybody else. But unfortunately, he went and got himself hurt. He has a PCL injury, and he'll be out 6 weeks, likely ending his season for the 49ers, as their chances of making the postseason are slim to none, as they drop to 5-7. To even say that is ridiculous. Jordan Mason, he had 13 rushes for 78 yards. He also suffered an injury, high ankle sprain. He goes on IR, out at least 4 weeks. So now your number 1 and your number 2 running backs are on the shelf. And so now you're down to just Isaac Guerendo, and a running back they claimed off waivers, Israel Akuna Matata, whatever the fuck his name is. Now this is a fast guy. He's super fast. So we have 2 speedy running backs. And this is a guy that a lot of people wanted the Niners to draft. So we'll see what Israel brings to the running back room. But going back to Sunday night, on national television, the Niners were thoroughly embarrassed for the second week in a row. They embarrassed themselves against Seattle. Got embarrassed the next week against the Packers. And then this week it got even worse. 35-10. They dropped to 5-7. Not much to say stat-wise. Juwan Jennings had 3 catches for 56 yards. Deebo Samuel, 4 catches for 20 yards. Like I said, this was not a huge throwing game. Although Josh Allen was 13-17 for 148 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. He also ran for a touchdown as well, and he ran for 18 yards. This was a game that really showed you a lot about the quarterback position, because it makes you wonder. Brock Purdy is supposed to be getting this big contract coming up at the end of the year. Everyone was saying, oh, he's going to get like $60 million a year, $60 million. But here's my question, is that is what you pay superstar quarterbacks. Now, I'm a Brock Purdy fan. I like Brock Purdy a lot. I'm a huge fan of him. And it hurts me to say this, but Brock Purdy is not an elite quarterback. He has the intangibles. He has the mental processing, the mental capacity of an elite quarterback. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's a damn good quarterback. But is he at the elite level? No. He's not the Josh Allen. So there's the elite class. There's like Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Elite. Absolutely elite. The moment's never too big for them. They have amazing arms, amazing talent, amazing athletic ability. I don't think Brock Purdy falls into one of those categories. I don't think Brock Purdy is in that elite status with a Josh Allen, with a Pat Mahomes. I don't. And like I said, I'm a huge Brock Purdy fan. But he falls down. I would say he's a top 10 quarterback based on his stats. So now the question is, do you pay Brock Purdy this ginormous contract, this $60 million a year contract? I think based on how the season ends and what we've seen so far this season, I think that Brock Purdy is probably going to get a contract around $35 to $45 million a year. And I think that basically they're going to lowball him, which he'll probably deny it. He won't accept that offer. And I think that he'll play on his 4th year. Because at the end of the day, you can always franchise him. Yes, it's a direct hit to the cap, but you have options with Brock Purdy. And you have to find out, is this a guy you want to sink a lot of money into? Because at this point, based on how he's playing, based on the skill sets that he has, I think that he's Baker Mayfield money, $45 million. That's the most I want to offer him at this point. I love having him on the team. I think he processes the offense really well. But this year, he is not hitting the reads like he was last year. This year's been a mess on all phases of the game. Special teams, defense, and offense as well. So it's not just Brock. It's not all on Brock. But I think here you saw a clear line drawn in the snow between elite level quarterback and Josh Allen and really good starting quarterback play in Brock Purdy. Now, granted, Josh Allen's been in the league longer than Brock. He's got more experience. But the numbers don't lie, and the skill sets don't lie as well. And I think that, look, do I keep Brock Purdy around for the future? Yeah, I do. I just don't think it's at $60 million. That's outrageous money for a guy who doesn't have the big arm. Is he accurate? He's been accurate in the past. Not really so much this year. He has good scrambling ability, and he can process the offense and process his reads better than a lot of young and up-and-coming quarterbacks. So I think Brock Purdy is a really, really good quarterback, but he's not at the elite level. He's not at the superhero level of quarterbacks. You know, when you think of superheroes, you think of Batman, Superman, Captain America. Those are the elite level. Brock's just below that. Brock's more like a Gambit. You know, a Nightwing. Really good. Love to have him as your leader, but he's not an elite superstar talent. So that's why I don't think you give him that big $60 million contract, because I think if that's what he's demanding, then you need to let him play out his fourth year and prove that he can have more than one really good season or one season and a half that's really good. So, tough loss. The Niners were without Nick Bosa, who has an oblique strain. They were without, obviously, Brandon Ayuk, who's out for the year. They were without Trent Williams. And really sad story with Trent Williams. I mean, my God. The man lost twins. He lost one of them while his wife was still pregnant. And then he lost another one when they gave birth. Either way, it's a depressing, horrible story, and my heart goes out to Trent Williams and his family. This is the second player on the Niners who has lost a child. Obviously, the first was Charvarius Ward. He's losing his 1-year-old daughter. And now you have, Trent Williams losing twins. It's just heartbreaking to hear this kind of information. Hear this kind of news. My heart goes out to them. Thoughts and prayers go out to them as well. Just horrible news to hear. And so this season has been a struggle. Struggle bus is real for the Niners this season. Obviously, you had the Christian McCaffrey injury, where he missed the first 9 weeks. Now he'll miss the rest of the season. Now you got the Mason injury. You had the Jake Moody injury. Well, I'm on the fence with Jake Moody. Yeah, he's got a strong leg, but man, that guy's not accurate whatsoever. Just ridiculous. Now you got Nick Bosa down. Leonard Floyd averaging 10 sacks a season. He can barely push 6. Leonard Floyd and Nick Bosa are playing more snaps than they have in the past 2 seasons, and it shows. They're not getting it done. They're playing them too much. The depth at defensive end is not there. And that's something that they have to fix next year. Javon Hargrave out for the year. He is a cut candidate. I would cut him and save the money that you're going to pay him, because he has not produced on that massive contract that he signed a couple years ago. He's not produced. It's just unbelievable. Nothing went right for the Niners. Defensively, they could not stop the run whatsoever. Let's talk about that. How do you allow Buffalo to run all over you and you still have 2 high safeties? You should be stuffing the box Yes, it's Josh Allen, but no one's burning you over the top. They can't run in the snow. So if Josh Allen has to be the one that burns you over the air, one of your best attributes as a defense is your secondary. Yes, you're down Diamond Lenore, but you got Renardo Green and you got back Charvarius Ward. Utilize that. Stuff the box. Don't let them run the ball on you. At the very least, single high safety. No, they had 2 high safeties, and James Cook ran for 107 yards. Unbelievable. Nick Sorensen should be fired. His defense has been a joke. But let's look at the stats. The defensive rankings for Nick Sorensen and the Niners defense. They're 4th in passing yards. Okay. 5th in total yards given up. It's not bad. 11th in turnovers. 11th in passing TDs. So already the secondary is doing good. Rushing yards. They're 15th. They're 15th in allowing rushing yards. 16th in 4th downs. 24th in points. 26th in 3rd down defense. That's not winning a championship. That's getting knocked out and not even making the playoffs. They are 28th in 4th quarter scoring. They're one of the worst defenses in the 4th quarter. And I think that is a lack of depth that is hurting this pass rush, this defensive line, these linebackers. 31st in rushing TDs. Unbelievable. 31st in red zone defense. Holy shit. I mean, come on. If Nick Sorensen doesn't get fired this year, I don't know what. I'm going to flip the fuck out. I cannot stand it anymore. They have to get rid of Sorensen. There's too much talent on this team to not win. Look at these numbers. These are updated 49ers PFF positional rankings on the season, courtesy of Mr. John Chapman. Check him out on social media, X, Instagram. He's a winner, John Chapman. We're talking about positional rankings on the season. Tight end, number 1, George Kittle. 2nd is Fred Warner at linebacker. Kyle Juszczyk, 2nd at fullback. Fuck him. The hell with Kyle Juszczyk. I'm done with the juice. This is his final year. He needs to go. Trent Williams, 6th. Nick Bosa, 6th. Dominic Pooney, 8th. That's at right guard. Juwan Jennings, 9th. Brock Purdy, 12th. No other player in this team, and there's no other player in the top 20. So, but when you have this many talented players on your team, not to mention you got the likes of Deebo Samuel, you have Diamondor Lenore, you have all this talent everywhere, but you can't put it together. It's just shameful. It's bad coaching. And it's the one thing the Niners haven't done a very good job at. You look at these other franchises like the Chiefs. No one's leaving. All the coaches stay there. But our coaches are leaving. The Niners need to pay more when it comes to the coaching staff. It doesn't come out of your salary cap. It's not a hit on the salary cap. You can pay the coaches whatever you want to. The Niners need to invest in elite coaching. Because that's what they haven't done. They lost Robert Saleh. They lost D'Amico Ryans. And they keep losing executives and not replacing them with anybody. It's just a mess. I mean, when you look at Nick Sorensen, he was their 3rd selection? They tried to go for Nick or Steve Spagnuolo. Chiefs paid him more money. He stayed. They tried to go for Bill Belichick. He wants to do broadcasting. He'll make more money there. Then they interviewed their entire coaching staff and chose Nick Sorensen, an inexperienced assistant coach who's now their defensive coordinator and looks like the most vanilla defense I've ever seen in my life. This defense has no drive. This defense has no passion. They're literally getting ran over every single time they go out in the field. Fred Warner is playing with a fractured ankle because he knows if he's not out there, this team is going to fail. He was doing everything the first 4 weeks. Then he fractured the ankle against the Patriots, and he hasn't been the same since. But imagine if he wasn't out there this entire season. It'd be ugly. Devondre Campbell, bad signing. Has he had some good games? Yeah, he did. He's had some good games. The Cowboy game was a good game. And he played good against Seattle. But the problem is that the guy is horrible in pass coverage. He's slow. He can't change direction. I understand he was a stopgap, but if you knew that Dre Greenlaw wasn't going to come back until late in the year, was he really the stopgap between, the beginning of the season and when you're going to get Dre Greenlaw back? No. The guy was washed up. There's a reason why the Packers didn't bring him back. There's a reason. And it's unbelievable what they've done. It's sad, really. It really is. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, what is happening to the 49ers? Just absolutely ugly. And now they sit at 5-7. And the only way they can make the playoffs, we're talking about playoffs. Even if this team was able to squeak its way into the playoffs, they'd get shellacked in the first round. I don't see them advancing in the playoffs. I don't see them getting the Super Bowl, let alone winning a Super Bowl. No. You think this defense can stop Lamar Jackson? It obviously couldn't stop Josh Allen. Pat Mahomes? No. No, this is just not the year for the Niners. Now, look, if they get to the playoffs, I'll be rooting for them, obviously. I root for them every week. But it's so frustrating to watch this team struggle week in and week out on just the basic fundamentals of the game. It's just not good. It's not good. And I don't know what they can do to really shore things up. So what I'm going to do right now is we're going to watch a little bit of the post-game press conference. This is public video, public information. So Kyle Shanahan was asked about the Christian McCaffrey injury after looking amazing before he injured himself. And here's what he had to say. Let's go ahead and bring this up. And here we go.
Does this sort of capture the frustration of the season in a sense? I mean, Christian was running like himself again.
Yeah.
6 plays.
Yeah, it was frustrating. He had a great week of practice, and I could feel his urgency and stuff, and thought he came out great, looking real good. And it looked like he just got his shoestring there. He's about to break a house call, and I'm guessing he got hurt on that play. I don't know. I never got to talk to him, but hurt for him and tough for our team not having him.
Just not good. Just not good. And he was having a great game. I mean, the guy was balling out there. Shanahan was also asked about this team, and does this team have any fight left? And I think this is a really important, this was a big statement by Kyle Shanahan because he was being very honest about his team. He understands now that this season is probably over. So now it's time just to kind of be honest about the current state of the Niners. Here's what Kyle Shanahan had to say.
I think we're not as good of a team as those past teams.
That's big right there.
So that's kind of how I look at it. We're not the same team at all. Every team each year is different. But I'm not going to say that this team is the same as last year's team. We're just not fighting as hard. We got a bunch of different guys out there. We've been trying to find our way since the beginning. Haven't quite found that yet. There's still a lot of season left, and we expect to play better. But I'm not going to say that our team doesn't have fight.
This team is not as good as previous teams. It's not. And he acknowledged that. He's like, look, we're not as good. Basically, we're not as good as we were last year and the year before. We're not. And, he wasn't trying to sugarcoat it at all. And it just sucks to hear that because as a Niner fan, you want this team to succeed. But we have a lot of frustrated players, I should say. George Kittle sounded off. And here's what he had to say.
I did.
And you didn't catch another pass the remainder.
I did not.
Well, any explanation on why you did not?
No, I do not have an explanation. I think I ran like 6 more routes the rest of the day. Could be a combination of that, but no idea.
No, they were doing to you.
Oh goodness gracious, no. No, I didn't feel that. I felt pretty open multiple times. It is what it is.
It is what it is. He's frustrated. You have the best tight end in the league right now, and you're not throwing him the ball in a snow game. Unbelievable. This offense has been so discombobulated this year with all this talent. So incredibly frustrating. What about Brock Purdy? Brock Purdy made this comment talking about the mindset over the next 5 games. Here's what Brock had to say.
Sure. I mean, every game's got to be must win for us. We don't have any room clearly if we want to make the playoffs and get ahead and do the thing that we've set out to do before the season, man. Every win's got to be a must win. And so that's plain as day. And we all know that. So, like I said, we all just got to be accountable and grow from it. And, we don't have a lot of room for error right now. We got to go. So sure. I mean,
yeah, we got to go. We got to go. But they're not making it happen. You can't win a game throwing for 94 yards. Just tough to watch. Just absolutely tough to watch. I mean, Brock yet says, look, it's a must win every week. The Niners have been there before, and that usually doesn't work out for them. This is a team that's got problems, inefficiencies, injuries. To me, the thought of playoffs is just absolutely absurd at this point. Even if you made the playoffs, do you really think that you're going to make it past the first round? Do you think that we can make it to the Super Bowl? That we can win the Super Bowl? No, I don't think we can. Based on the way they're playing. I mean, stranger things have happened, but I just don't see it. I don't. Love Brock Purdy. Not giving him a $60 million contract. Not. Just not doing it. I'm giving him low ball Baker Mayfield money. And see if he bites. Because it's not worth it. They need to figure something out fast because this season is ending rapidly as they sit at 5-7. Just a tough game to watch, tough season to watch for the 49ers. A season in which we were favorites to win the Super Bowl going into the year. Only to be a team that may not even make the playoffs. A team that is one game better than the Chicago Bears. Better than the Chicago Bears. One game. That's it. Adam Karnick of Chi-Town Weekly will be joining us in a few minutes to talk about the Bears and Niners matchup coming up this Sunday. Can't wait to talk to him about that. But at the end of the day, the Niners need to figure it out. And I think they need to start holding people more accountable. And I think that Brian Schneider, their special teams head coach, he needs to be fired. They likely won't fire anybody until the end of the season, but they need to fire him and they need to fire Nick Sorensen. He's not the answer as your defensive coordinator. Not at all. And you need to invest money in better coaching, better quality coaching. I mean, you're hoping to win a Super Bowl with a first-time defensive coordinator. This is your window, and that's what you went with. I don't even know what Brandon Staley's doing there. He's the defensive consultant. They've looked terrible on defense. Does Brandon Staley need to take over as a D coordinator? Maybe he does. But this is supposed to be a Brandon Staley, Nick Sorensen tag team on defense. And it's looked like a complete shit show on defense. They react slow, don't make proper adjustments. It's just not good. It's not good. Guys, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to have Adam Karnick on the show, host of Chi-Town Weekly, talking about Niners versus Bears. You're listening to NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Law.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Karnick, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Minutes past the hour here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm joined by Adam Karnick, host of Chi-Town Weekly. Adam, what's going on, man? Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, Andre. Happy to do it. How have you been in the 24 hours since we last spoke?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, outside of 49ers football, I'm doing great. Outside of Bay Area sports, which is NorCal, I'm doing great. But right now, the Niners are sucking. The Warriors have lost 4 in a row. The Sharks have won 2 in a row, so that's a good thing. But overall, though, when it comes to 49ers football, it's an absolute train wreck right now. Now, here's the thing. Niner fans need to understand something here, okay? This is another reason why I wanted to have you on here is because, look, we're talking about a team that has lost 6 in a row. We're talking about the Chicago Bears. The Niners have lost 3 in a row, and it's like the sky is falling right now. But I want to put something that kind of into perspective. What is it like being a Chicago Bears fan?
Oh, wow. I mean, the Bears are on a 6-game losing streak right now. This isn't even the longest losing streak in the last year and a half that they've been on.
Yeah.
You know, depending on how you want to count it, their longest is either 10 or 14, depending on how you want to count it. Because they had a streak that was the last 10 of one season and then the first 4 of the next one.
Yeah.
So depending on how you want to count all that, being a Bears fan right now is a little bit like preparing your favorite meal, where it's whatever it is that you're most looking forward to, whether it's the turkey on Thanksgiving, or if you're my mother-in-law, the stuffing, or if you're my wife, the green bean casserole, or if you're me, all of it, all of the above and seconds on everything, where you realize that somehow you got all the substitute ingredients. But all right, well, I could work with this. I could try to put this together. You throw everything together, and then you realize that, hey, this is actually smelling great. And I've taste tested a little bit, and it's wonderful. And then right at the end, when it's time to pull it out of the oven, you forget to grab an oven mitt, and you just grab it with your bare hand. And now you have 3rd-degree burns all over your hand.
And the food's all over the floor. Like, that's a mess.
Exactly. Where at the last second, when all you had to do was stick the landing, you blew it.
I mean, I can't imagine what it's like going through, Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, and now you're at Caleb Williams. It's probably, I think, the best quarterback of the three of them. I mean, we saw what Justin Fields did in Pittsburgh, and he is what he is. But let's talk about the Bears and Niners matchup. Now, obviously, last night we talked about it on your show. I don't feel confident the Niners can win this game at all based on the injuries, based on the way they've been playing. But I think the Bears offer a more balanced matchup for the Niners. But the way they played against the Lions, if they could do that again this coming Sunday, the Niners don't stand a fucking chance.
Yeah, it depends on which half of that game from Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
if it's the first half, oh boy, this is gonna be a long Sunday. But if it's the second half, then yeah, it is. There is actually right now in Chicago, despite a 6-game losing streak, there is a feeling of optimism coming into this game, and it's twofold. It's
absolutely
one, Matt Eberflus is finally gone. You know, the stench that has been surrounding the team, certainly for the past 6 weeks, but really for the last year and a half, you're finally starting to air the room out. You're finally starting to get rid of that. But then it's also, it's looking across the way and kind of realizing that, oh, hey, San Francisco's going through its rough patch right now too. This isn't the same team that we looked at a month ago. I talk a lot of times in my show. I hate doing season previews when the regular season schedule comes out in June, because the NFL is such a week to week. It's not a 17 game schedule. It is 17 week-long seasons with an off week thrown in there somewhere, because you look too far ahead, and a team that could be great today could be awful, is always just one injury away from being awful, or one hot streak away from, oh man, that's a tough team. That's going to be a tough matchup. And vice versa for you as a team you're getting ready to play. So, we looked at this one, and now Bears fans and Bears media, we're starting to look at this game and, oh, hey, it's a little bit like looking in the mirror. This feels like it could be a get right game for either team, that it could be this opponent is the cure for whatever you feel like ailing you going into this week.
We're talking with Adam Karnick, host of Chi-Town Weekly, here on the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So let me ask you, there's this I wanted to bring up, because I think that, again, Niner fans need to put like reality into perspective here. We see this right here. This is from Mike Florio saying, I feel like, not like, this is from a source. I feel like Shanahan and the Niners are getting close to a point where they would benefit mutually from a fresh start. Now, this is his perspective. I don't think this is absolutely accurate. And the reason why I say that is because, let me see. There was another article right here, which I can share with you, where Adam Schefter is courtesy of SF Niners over on X. that Adam Schefter on the future of the Niners with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. I've gotten zero indication the 49ers are looking to move on from John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, and that comes courtesy of Adam Schefter. So with that being said, if they were to fire Kyle Shanahan, Bears fans, the Bears organization would likely jump all over this.
I said on my show last week, if the 49ers fire Shanahan, I will fly out to San Francisco, get him on a plane, and bring him to Chicago, and just Bears general manager Ryan Poles, give this man whatever he needs. You just ask him what went wrong in San Francisco and what do you need to make sure that it doesn't happen here. And actually, the Florio quote is really transient for today, because Florio actually went on Chicago radio earlier today and workshopped a trade package of if you're the Bears, you'd be calling the 49ers, what kind of trade compensation would you like? What package of draft picks would you like back for Kyle Shanahan if you're really that desperate to get rid of him? So Florio is definitely looking to stir that pot. And I would simply caution Niners fans, and I know you and I talked about this a little bit last night on Chi-Town Weekly. The grass is always greener when you're looking at your neighbor's yard. Be careful what you wish for. You're talking about a coach that has guided the Niners to the playoffs each of the last 3 years, 4 out of the last 5, and has gone to 2 Super Bowls with 2 very different and certainly not elite quarterbacks in Brock Purdy last year and Jimmy Garoppolo a few years back. Be careful what you wish for there if you decide to move on from Shanahan.
I agree. I don't think the Irish should move on from Shanahan. I think that, they need to bolster up their other coaching staff, in terms of defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, get that right. But let me ask you, when it comes to Kyle Shanahan, actually, let me rephrase that. When it comes to a quarterback like Brock Purdy, being a Chicago fan on the outside, looking at the Niners, what is the perspective of Brock Purdy in your eyes? I mean, do you think that this guy is an elite quarterback, or do you see him just as like a better version of, Will Levis? How do you guys view Brock Purdy?
Yeah, it's Brock Purdy. To me, he is impressive for what he was coming into the league. I mean, let's not forget, we're talking about Mr. Irrelevant. Right. He was the last pick in the last round of the draft. That is usually a guy that lingers on your scout team in the practice squad for a year or two, maybe sits at the bottom of the roster. And depending on the position, you get some stuff from a special teams standpoint, and that's that. So to have somebody that you're not only comfortable starting, but has gotten himself to be a legitimate NFL starter, that is darned impressive. A Bears equivalent. And this is going to, I apologize in advance because this is going to sound a little bit like an insult, and I don't mean it to be.
Okay.
The Bears have a little bit of a similar player with their left tackle, Braxton Jones. Braxton Jones was a 6th round draft pick out of Southern Utah in the Big Sky Conference. And it was, this guy's going to be the starting left tackle? Really? Okay, you say so. That feels like it's a train wreck waiting to happen. And he's been serviceable. He's been very impressive for where he started out, which is a tribute to the coaching staff. But at the same time, you could do better.
I feel that's kind of where the Niners are at with Purdy. He has done incredibly well. I don't want to say anything bad about him because what he's been able to accomplish is so impressive. To go from Mr. Irrelevant, the third string quarterback, needing to have multiple injuries just to get onto the field, but then he showed that he was, he got the opportunity and he's made the most of it. And he's shown that that wasn't a fluke, him getting on the field and Kyle Shanahan being willing to turn to him. And it wasn't just, hey, this kid ain't ready. We got to go find anybody, because this kid's not ready. He's not prepared. So he absolutely deserves his flowers and his props for that. But at the same time, his ceilings, you're probably at his ceiling, which is you've got to have a really, really, really solid supporting cast around him. And you've got to really work to tailor everything to his strengths, because his physical gifts aren't necessarily gonna, his physical traits aren't necessarily going to get you out of trouble.
Well, they're not that of like a Josh Allen. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Or
exactly.
a Patrick Mahomes. But I mean, the guy's talented enough. I think he does deserve a contract, but at $60 million, no, I would give him something around 35, tops 45. I mean, with 45, we're talking like Baker Mayfield money, and Baker Mayfield's got a stronger arm than he does. So, but Brock is more mobile than Baker is. But so it's kind of like, hey, where do we go? I'm a huge Brock Purdy fan, and I think in my opinion, I think he's a top 10 quarterback. However, he's not at that elite level. He's not at that superhero level where you have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and those guys. So as we kind of round things out on Niners and Bears, let's go with score predictions. What do you think the score will be at the end of the game, and where do you think the Bears will find success against the 49ers?
I do feel like this can be very much a get right game for the Bears. The Niners are unfortunately dealing with a ton of injuries. It was funny. I was listening to you on my drive in, and you reminded me of Leonard Floyd, ex-Bear Leonard Floyd, by the way, through several intermediaries of getting there to San Francisco. He's a fine edge rusher, but you hit the nail on the head with him there. Because of injuries, they're being forced to use him too much.
He's way too much.
He is best when you're able to situationally, get him in there for, 40 to 55% of the defensive snaps. When he's starting and he's out there for 75+% of the snaps, that's a problem. If the Bears have, under Thomas Brown, who is now was the interim offensive coordinator, now is the interim head coach. Follow all that. My goodness, the Bears are making things interesting there. Their offense has improved over the last 4 weeks with Thomas Brown at the helm. What's going to be interesting to me about this is while the offense as a whole has gone up and Caleb Williams' performance has gone up, the running game has actually gone backwards. Caleb has wound up leading the team in rushing several times with Thomas Brown calling the plays, and not with like Justin Fields type numbers where it's, oh my gosh, he ran for 140 yards and just, put on 6 incredible juke moves and that kind of thing. It's like, well, Caleb scrambled for 40 yards and that led the team. If the Bears can get DeAndre Swift more consistently involved in this one, fix that running game a little bit, which will allow the play action pass to open up a little bit more and let the Bears attack that secondary, the Bears can have success. On the flip side, I can absolutely see San Francisco having success. the running back that they just signed off of the Jets practice squad. My nightmare is, I remember when the Bears played when Colin Kaepernick made his very first start. What was that?
Oh yeah,
12
Monday
years
night.
ago. And it was Monday night against the Bears. And I remember going into that game thinking, oh, this is great. This is sweet. They've got this Kaepernick kid. He's going to be a rookie. The Bears are just going to annihilate him. They are going to feast on this kid.
And he torched them.
And then Kaepernick did what Kaepernick does. And it was, oh no. I mean, there is that nightmare scenario in the back of my mind of the Niners just signed this no-name running back off the Jets practice squad, and suddenly the entire world is going to learn who this kid is because the Bears' run defense has regressed significantly over the last month.
But here's the thing. Even though their run defense has gone down, all they have to do really to win this game is just hand the ball off to DeAndre Swift, and there's no Niner on that defensive line that can stop anybody. Like, if they hand the ball off to you and I, we would get a 3-yard gain every time, maybe even 5 yards, because they can't seem to stop anybody. So, real quick, score prediction. I'll go first. I think the Niners lose this game, and I think they lose this game at a final score of 24-14.
I'm going to go, I'm going to take the Bears. I'm going to actually have it a little higher scoring than that.
I was being generous too. I was trying to be modest.
I was thinking the Niners score being a little bit higher.
Okay.
It's going to be, the Bears defense is going to be really interesting. There's going to be this burst of energy, of course, because Eberflus is out of the room, but there are still flaws that we're going to see what defensive coordinator Eric Washington can actually do to cover some of those up. So I'm going to go with a little bit closer of a score. I'm going to go Bears 27, Niners 20. I think this does ultimately wind up technically a one-score game, but I think the Bears defense gets just enough of a resurgence there to make the difference at the end.
There we go. Adam, once again, thank you for coming on, and I appreciate you joining me on the show. We'll have to do it again later in the year and in the off season as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andre. Glad to hop on. Glad to chop it up a little bit with you.
All right. We'll catch you next time, Adam. Thank you so much.
Sounds great.
So, guys, that's going to do it for the show. I do want to kind of rapid fire through some of the scores that we had talked about. Warriors, they are playing tonight against the Nuggets at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Warriors have lost 4 in a row and are looking to rebound off a 4-game losing streak. Stanford football. Stanford plays San Jose State. This is a doubleheader because I cover San Jose State as well. San Jose State beat Stanford 34-31 in a thrilling game that came down to the wire, and San Jose State pulled it out. The Cal Bears, they got shellacked by SMU 38-6. Not much to say there. Just SMU running all over them, kind of like Niners and Bills. And the Sharks, they win 8-5 over Seattle. They've won 3 of their last 4 games, and they are on a little bit of a run. So good on the San Jose Sharks. The Sharkies getting it done over in San Jose. But guys, that's going to do it for the NorCal Sports Report. Tune in tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time to watch Warriors versus Nuggets. Nuggets are favored by 4.5, but you never know with the Warriors. They still need that second score. I'm telling you right now, they need that second primary score they don't have. But guys, thank you everyone for tuning in today. Thank you to Larry B. Thank you to Adam Carter for coming on here and talking about Niners and Bears. Niners play the Bears this Sunday at 1 o'clock Pacific time in Santa Clara. Can they bounce back and recover their season? We'll find out this Sunday at Levi Stadium. Guys, remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on X, make sure you subscribe to IE Sports Radio or follow me on X over at NorCal Sports IE or my personal account, Dre Area Sports. Subscribe to my channel, Dre Area Sports on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the show. You guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time for another episode of the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio. your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll see you next.